Hi my friends, how are you? In this week's video, I want to chat about the difficulty of accepting compliments. And this week's video is going to be a coffee chat, even though I'm drinking water right now because it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon right now and I do need to get up at 4 in the morning tomorrow. Anyway, so meaning I will not put any insert in this video. It's just you and me chatting. It's like a visual podcast in a sense, so you can actually put me in the background while you're doing chores or drawing, doodle, whatever you do, so you can save your time and then catching up with the old friends about some thoughts. Anyway, disclaimer, I will reference a lot of personal experience in this video. I'm not using the video to vent my emotions. It's purely I want to share the experience with you, and then hopefully if any of you have a similar experience, I just want you know that you are not alone. And then towards the end of the video, I also will share some things that I'm working on to help with this problem. So if you are new here, thank you for coming to my channel. My name is Nani. I'm a writer-director based in Los Angeles, and my film is in Apple TV, Amazon, Vudu, all the VOD platform in North America right now. If you are interested, you can check it out in the link down in the description below. So I did some search on YouTube, and then there were not many videos about the difficulty of accepting compliments, especially the videos for artists. That's one of my struggle, and I'm not sure how many people are going through exactly the same thing. So I thought it would be a nice idea to put it out here and to share with you. Maybe it can help one of you that going through the same thing and give you some inspirational idea of what you can do or lighten up your world a little bit. So I've been thinking about this topic for a while. Funny enough, yesterday I was chatting to somebody about how I noticed I'm not only having difficulty to accepting compliments, but I'm constantly looking for the problem with myself or what's not done good enough within myself, as if that's my upper brain, and now my parents is not around me, but I'm functioning as my parents. I'm being very strict and judgmental towards everything I do. 2 hours later, I went to Chinese theater in Hollywood, help a film festival, Dances with Film, to moderate a feature screening for their Q&A. And before I went in there, because it's my first time doing moderating a Q&A, I got a little bit concerned about my performance is not going to be great. So I asked a front desk, Brandon, about some experience that he has, or if he can share me some tips about moderating a Q&A, since he has done that before. And then at the end of our chat, Brandon stopped me before I leaving for the theater, and he says, I know you have a hard time to accept compliments, but I just want to let you know you just need to be authentic, and then people will like you. You are a likable person, so don't worry about how you came across. As much as I was grateful about his compliment, I actually feel more interested about how he can see through me and know that I'm having a difficult time to accept compliments. Especially, I was just chatting about this topic like several hours ago with a friend. So that made me wondering, because every time when I go to festival, social events, mixer for filmmaking in general, even though I'm an introvert, but I kind of try my best to put myself out there. I think even though I'm trying my best to be outgoing, certain thoughts that I have in my mind still able to reflect outwardly. Just like, a great actor, when they're acting, it's not so much of what on their facial expression, it's more of somehow you just know whatever is going through in their mind. So I wonder if that's the reason I was laughing and told him that, how did you know? And he said, I just can't tell, and I totally relate to that. And then that led me to think deeply on this topic, and thought about what I have been working on this subject. So I'm going to break this video in 3 parts. First, I'm going to chat about the reason, I think, at least for me, why I'm having a difficulty to accept the compliments. Second, I want to chat about why it might cause some problems when I'm having this kind of mindset as an artist and as a writer. And then third, I'm going to share with you what I have been working on and the things I know that has been helpful, at least kind of guide me to have less intense feeling towards certain things. I did some research, and based on my personal experience, let me take a sip of water. There are several reasons might cause this kind of difficulty, this kind of rejection towards compliments. First reason, I think, is the culture overall. The social environment is teaching us that we should be humble, and self-praise will be viewed as a bad thing, will be viewed as something that's more grandiose, narcissistic kind of thing. So we're trying to protect ourselves from that kind of judgment. And then second, it says a lot about our self-esteem. Especially my case, it's almost kind of like similar to imposter syndrome, because imposter syndrome is having difficulty to accept our own accomplishment because we feel flawed, we feel untrue. Same as when people give me compliment in any aspect of my life, I tend to feel that they don't see the true me, and I feel I'm not hold up my integrity. That's not me. I'm not as great as they say. And then this reflects a lot about my self-esteem, because in most given situation, I tend to tunnel focus on my problem, what I didn't do well, what I could do better than what I have been accomplished, what things I've done that I've never done before. All my progress is more likely to be dismissed by me. So in that way, when I get compliment for people, whatever people say to me were not recognized by me yet. So I feel kind of fraud. I hope that makes sense. And third reason, it could be culture. In certain culture, it will be emphasized on being humble even more. Like for example, in my culture, Chinese culture, being humble is one of the biggest virtue. It's just like a filial to your parents. Respect your parents. Everybody should be humble, and that's what I've seen both of my parents done when they are around their peers. My dad, since I was a kid, I know he always having difficulty of accepting compliments every time when people say something. I can see he is, part of him is happy about it, another part of him will say no, not that good, and not like that, kind of not so nice rejecting people's compliments, if you really think about them. But in my culture, how he responds is actually a good way to respond to situation, is making him a better human being. I don't think those are things we purposefully picked up, more of how we observe people around us in the culture. I think anybody could have similar experience, and it's all valid, and we all need to look into our own life experience, culture background to figure out what's exactly the cause of this kind of emotional experience that we have. Now I want to chat about the downside of having difficulty accepting compliments. I think this is the situation kind of held me back sometimes. When I look into ask myself what kind of situation or compliment will make me feel uncomfortable, it tend to be when people complimenting on my work, complimenting on things I created. Even at my day job, which has nothing to do with filmmaking, not things I care about the most in the world, when I get compliment about things I do, I feel a sense of uncomfortableness that on the surface I would say thank you, but internally I would push myself away, almost like I couldn't accept that because that is not me. A lot of the time when I do things, I work so hard, I seem to have a lot of motivation. It's not only because I'm motivated by loving what I do, but a huge part of it is because I'm motivated by fear of doing something wrong, by fear of not good enough, by fear of not be able to catch up, by the fear of I will be forgotten, I will be a disappointment. And then all of those fears are associated to my upper brain because that's how my education environment was. That the message we received is you will be in trouble, you will be kicked out of the house, you will be disliked if you've done something wrong, if you are not good enough, if you're not getting the first grade, if you're not getting, become the top students. There was a lot of comparison between me and other people. So even today I choose a career that I love so much, but the habit, the protection mechanism of I need to constantly check in with myself to see if I've done something wrong, if I'm doing things great. I need to make sure I have no problem, no flaw, all that. Those fears are actually the main thing that driving me on my work. And then that's not sustainable. That make me become a perfectionist. It's almost like I'm not able to accept any compliments unless I'm perfect, which is impossible. And also that will make me start feel dreadful towards my work or anything I do. It's unhealthy to motivate by fear instead of love. And then that dreadfulness will gradually make me feel resentful towards my work, even it's writing, even it's the things I'm enjoying so much. On the surface, it's just a small problem of people overly humble. But if I really look inwardly, and I can see my brain has been thinking in a lot of unhealthy ways of dismiss my progress, dismiss my hard work and myself. It's just solely concerned about where I let people down. Even when I had my film screening on big screen, everybody was happy about it. My mind is still checking every single detail and concerned about if I've done something that made this whole experience not perfect for other people. I think that will bring a lot of stress to our work. And I believe once we have so many resentment towards our work, towards the process, and have so much fear along the way, our work is not going to come across authentic because we might make certain artistic choice driven by fear, driven by the fear of not accepted by other people. So we could making something that's driven by pursuing the market so we can get accepted by other people, instead of writing a story or make a film that truly matters for us, which means it's authentic and it will bring out the true emotion that help other audience to relate to. So after I said all that, I feel this is serious, and I think I have been trying my best to deal with this situation as much as I can, but not as conscious as right now. I remember when I just started my day job, I have this girl, she quit the job to become a life coach now, and then she was complimenting me a whole lot, and then she was constantly remind me how great I am and how hardworking I am. And then she never complimenting on things about like you are smart or you are pretty, not those things that people tend to think as a fixed trait, but complimenting on things of traits like you're working hard and you are a very kind person, you are doing the right thing, just things like that. And then she was encouraging me to accepting them, and she was one of the person saw through me about this problem. One of the things that she taught me is to work on self-esteem. Try our best to aware of conversations we have internally within ourselves. If I do make some mistake and cause some trouble, I would say really bad things towards myself. And then to be aware of how you talk to yourself is very important for building a better self-esteem, that we need to catch up when we have negative talk towards ourselves and then reverse that, trying to find something that we can use to encourage ourselves. I hope that makes sense, but never say bad things to ourselves, like I'm not talented, I'm stupid. Try your best to catch those thoughts. As soon as you bring them to the light, they kind of become not as intense anymore. And then second, I think when you're trying to do certain work, checking with yourself, is your motivation is fear or love? Love, I mean by passion towards the work, the enjoyment, the pure joyful experience towards the work you do. Fear, I mean by worry about not going to get things on time, worry about if you don't get it done or done right, how other people would perceive you, or how you will waste your time and get old and never accomplish anything. Just checking in with yourself. Like, for example, when you write a screenplay, if the thoughts is from the fear or from the love. If it's driven by the fear, trying to bring some awareness to it, journaling about it, and then trying to see if on this particular work, let's say there's a screenplay that you're working on, do you have a reason driven by love, by passion, that you can use to motivate you, and then write them down, and then repeat that motivation thoughts of I really enjoy emotional experience during writing. I really enjoy the flow state of writing, and I'm looking forward to get into that flow state more. And then write that down, repeat that to yourself, trying to use that as your motivation to guide you to work on your project. Do as much as you can, and then stop working as soon as you start feeling that whatever is motivating you is guilt or fear. And then take some time checking with yourself again, journal about it, and turn that back around to love and excitement, the passion towards the work you do, and use that to motivate you again. This process is probably going to take a lot of repetition to gradually help you to get used to the idea of working because of passion, and to get used to certain type of mindset. It takes time to discard the fear as motivation, but it will work. It worked for me on certain subjects, so I know it's gonna work. And then the third part is, from now on, trying to see the progress you have, trying to see the little action you take that you might never dare to take in the past, trying to see things that you challenge yourself no matter the result, and then trying to see those things and self-compliment on those things as often as you can. Compliment yourself for those actions that you take. Compliment yourself about the progress you made, but don't compliment yourself by the result itself. In that way, you will have an easier time to accept the compliments you gave to yourself. And when you do that long enough, when people give you compliments, you can actually find a certain reason to accepting it, because you have been complimenting yourself. I don't know about you, but I think it's a polite way to try your best when you compliment other people. Compliment on like a specific effort that people put into the work instead of just the results itself. because the result is so unpredictable. It will cause people to have thoughts about, no, this is just luck, or I didn't do anything, this come from nowhere. Like it doesn't specific enough. It's not something that you can hold on to. But if you compliment on the progress, the challenge you take on, the action you take, acknowledge those little things that you've done daily as much as you can in everything you do, more you'll start feel confident about what you do. And then that will go back to last tip that help you to build more passion and love, and use that to motivate you to do the work that you do. And it's one of the things I find that's very helpful for me, probably the most helpful thing to help me deal with my procrastination. Basically looking at my little step every day instead of looking at the result of anything I do. The last tip, which I think is the most important one, but it's a little harder to grasp, is to, I put the notes down, to see the compliments as something neutral. Try your best to lose identification towards it. When people complimenting you, don't take yourself too seriously, which that's one of my flaw, is sometimes I take myself and life too serious. Now it become one of my intentional practice of not taking things too seriously. Try to disidentify with most of the stuff around me. If you can disidentify with all, that would be great. For example, when people complimenting on my film, I'm trying to disidentify myself from the idea of it's me made the film, the me part, but more of seeing this thing as I'm just instrument that this film was meant to be made. I come from the nature, and the nature used me to make this film. So when people compliment to the film, it's complimenting to the nature itself, not me as a person, because honestly that is the truth. I am, and then the film is. We are just part of the nature, and I am the instrument of whatever the universe and the nature itself want to create, and use me and create through me. So that's what I mean by disidentify yourself with the subject, with things you do, with the compliments that people give to you. That will make it much easier to receive, because you are not receiving for yourself, but receiving on behalf of the nature. It will gradually help you see the creating process through a different set of eyes, and you will start feeling enjoy it more. Whether the outcome of the screenplay or the film you make is good or not, it's not about you. It's the nature, and it is what it is, and it's supposed to be made this way, and it's supposed to exist this way. It's never about us as the artist, as the creator. I hope that makes sense, and I hope these 4 tips help. I don't know if you have a similar experience to this thing about difficulty of accepting compliments. I have been intentionally working on it for a long time now. I'm start getting better, but sometimes in certain situations I still have a lot of weakness, and then still in the process of learning. And then I just try my best to constantly apply these 4 tips that I just shared with you. And I hope they are helpful for you in some way. And please let me know in the comment down below if you are having similar struggle of imposter syndrome and difficult to accept compliments, and have you been aware of it, and what did you do, or what your tips that you can share with this community and share with me that we can maybe use and practice to gradually build more awareness towards our artistic life, towards our life of basically being creative. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this coffee chat, and thank you so much for watching and supporting this channel. Remember to check out my film if you haven't already, and let me know what you think. And be patient, be present, stay creative. I'll see you next week. Bye. Be